So we are officially live on social
Okay.
media. Today is Wednesday, July 21st. We're celebrating women in detailing, and we have special guest Jennifer Turcotte, and she has 22 years experience in the industry. A lot of you may be familiar with her as she is training director of IGL and owner of Carsmotology. I'm sorry, Carsmotology.
Yeah.
That M throws me off every time I go to say it. But she has a lot of experience in the industry, especially in regards to representing women in the industry. And she did a great job at the Southern Detailers Conference as well with that. So with that said, we're going to dive into her past and how she got started in the wonderful world of detailing and where all this happened. And of course, thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day today, Jennifer.
Of course. Thank you. And I just wanted to say congratulations to you on your Auto Geek position.
Thank you. You saw that, I take it.
I did. Yeah. I just wanted
Ironically, it just happened to post when we're doing this, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really awesome.
So tell me, how did all this come about? Like, what got you started in detailing? Where did that passion start for you? At what age and where?
First, one quick question. Can you hear that automotive stuff in the background?
Not really. Gives it character, but not
Okay,
really.
just let me know if it gets too loud. I'll try and find another spot.
Okay.
So starting out, I mean, I kind of always had my brother introduce me to cars when I was younger. He was talking about his Eagle Talon, which I thought he was gonna bring home, and it was gonna be some sort of Ferrari looking thing. But still, it kind of got me intrigued with cars. And ever since then, when I was 15, I started at a full service car wash detail center with my friends. So that's kind of what got me into being around cars more.
Was that the kind of assembly line style one?
Yeah.
Where you're outside drying and running it through the tunnel?
Yeah, and I was like 15, so I would do the prepping and the drying whenever I could. They had free vacuum service there, so we didn't do the vacuuming. And when I was working at the till, my manager, he actually, he would be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I got the till at the end of the night." Well, shortly thereafter, it was probably like a couple of months in, I no longer had a job because the numbers weren't adding up. So I don't really know what was going on, but I can only assume maybe there was some sort of, pocketing of the money or something like that. But after that, then I started working at a dealership. So I kind of saw, the ins and outs of a dealership and how that was kind of like quick turnaround when I wanted to spend more money cleaning the cars. I started polishing then with a rotary buffer. So nice. I was like,
what brand dealership was it?
It was a Ford dealership.
Gotcha.
So I started with a Makita, and then I don't know, I just always like really loved cleaning cars. I love the transformation. I love taking something that was neglected or just needed to get shined up, and that was my thing. When I was 19 years old, that's when I got into another full service car wash detail center. So kind of recently before that, I had lost my dad. And so like the owner of that dealership, he kind of like, went into like that dad role. It took me a little while because he was kind of like a boot camp instructor. I could kind of tell that a lot of people had, maybe disappointed him. So, it was kind of like that assembly line where you start at the vacuum bay. There was room for 4 cars. It would get brought over to the prep bay, and then it would go down the line to the dry bay. So, going in the vacuum bay, in the mornings, there was only 2 of us. So there was one person, on one side, and I was on the other. So I found out again soon that, when it went down to the dry bay and it wasn't done right, my boss would walk all the way over to the vacuum bay. And I mean, I remember specifically one time he took a vacuum hose attachment and threw it at us. And he's like, he said some choice words, but pretty much he's like, "Get it right next time." So that's when I was like, okay, I need to hustle. And so I would vacuum my side. I would be the one that would bring it over to the prep bay. And I would kind of check the other person's side. And if it wasn't done right, I would bring it back. And I'm like, "Oh, we missed a few spots." And instead of me kind of being like that, can we swear on here a little bit?
Sure.
I just didn't want to
We
be
are
that.
detailers.
Yeah, I mean, I work at a shop, but I didn't want to be that asshole and be, checking over his work right there. So to be nicer about it, I would check it before it would go down the line. And if it wasn't, done to standards, we'd bring it back and clean it out. And
You're
then
being a team player. That way you weren't throwing somebody under the bus. You were given the opportunity for it to be
yeah, I
corrected.
didn't want him to, it was more of like a subtle sort of critiquing. So then, I'd actually run down to the dry bay too, and I'd help dry it off, because in the dry bay, if there was like one drip of water going down from the mirror, I mean, my boss would specifically come out, grab a towel, wipe it off right in front of us, and then we'd all just kind of like, feel like crap. So I'm like, all right, I just need to make sure that this is absolutely perfect. So now when I do detailing, I mean, I feel like that kind of got ingrained in me. So like my standards are very high. It kind of takes me a lot to get impressed. But when I teach, I kind of make sure that I go over all these things, and I'm not hard on people, but I am very kind of like, just,
Blunt?
it's not blunt in a mean way. It's, I'm nice about it. Let's just say that, I'm like, hey, make sure we get those water spots, or it's nothing. I mean, that kind of sounded a little mean, but
No, but
I'm
if you
nice
had
about
good training like that, and with that,
Yeah.
let's say military like mentality of
Yeah.
somebody who's trained you, that passes down. And that's one of the biggest things that I think this industry lacks, is people being trained to be trainers,
Mhm.
or being trained properly, and then that in person being able to become a trainer, but use those tactics as their own, like
Mhm.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I just don't like to sugarcoat stuff. I want to make sure that people are doing it right, the first time, rather than maybe somebody else coming at them and being mean about it,
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then after working there for about 4 years, I tried going to college. This is in 2008, when kind of like things were, the market was crashing, and I tried going to college. Just wasn't so much for me. I'm more of a hands-on sort of person. So tried that for 2 years, came back, did detailing on the side, still using my rotary buffer. Then I started bartending a little bit too. And there was this one guy that continuously kept coming into the bar telling me that I needed to work for this place called Amola Motorsports. So I ended up going to this car show, introduced myself to the owner. And, sure, like I got brought on pretty much that next week, and I brought in my, my big old Makita, and they're like, what is that? Because, they were used to using like little porter cables. So that's when I kind of first got introduced to, not using a rotary buffer. And when I saw the finish of what an orbital could do, and I was like, oh my God, wow, this is awesome. I watched somebody how to use it in like 15 minutes. And then, I didn't really know heat management. I didn't really know, how long you should be doing sections.
I lost you for a second there, Jen. There
There's
you
just
go.
a lot I learned myself, and I guess I was a little too stubborn to kind of ask. So yeah, it was a learning process.
You're like, I think as a detailer, we've all scraped our knees a little bit in that process, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We've taken it. We're like, oh, we've got the tool now. I've
Mhm.
seen this. I know it works. I can make this work. I've used this other tool. And then you're
Mhm.
like, oh, wait a sec. There is a learning curve here.
Mhm.
Damn it.
Mhm. Yeah. And then I was working for them for about 2 years. That's kind of how I got started working on higher end vehicles. So people always ask me, they're like, how did you get, working on Porsches? And, Porsches are kind of my thing. But, other higher end cars, they're like, how did you get into it? I would say that working at a well-established, higher end car shop definitely got me into working on those. After working on them for about 2 years, and our pricing was really low, because when I went from the full service car wash detail center, our prices for a detail, they were anywhere from 125, maybe $200 tops. So when I was working at at Amola, it was pretty much 200 to 250. It was just a standard price. After that, when I started my business, my prices were pretty low, but the whole area around here in Minnesota, they were all pretty low. So, you know, but I found out that once I just couldn't get a raise there. You know, I was at about $13 an hour.
You're fine. I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was at about $13 an hour. I asked for a raise. They couldn't really give me a raise just because they had moved into a 32,000 square foot building.
Damn.
You can imagine what the heat bill was on that. So it's like,
gosh.
so they couldn't really pay me more. And I just said, hey, I'm sorry, like, but I gotta go. So I ended up quitting. I jumped into a shop before I had any sort of money saved up. I ended up borrowing about $2,000 from a friend. And so my rent payments were, I was paying about $3,000 a month in, you know, all the, you know, the rent, the utilities, me paying back the guy, because I paid him back in, you know, about 6 months. And it was pretty tough. And my prices were $200 to $250 inside, outside. It kind of depended on if it was an SUV or a car. I know that sounds crazy. I was that person that probably, but the thing is prices weren't high around here. So I wasn't really undercutting people.
You're just going with what you were familiar with in your local market. So, I mean, there's no wrong for that. And
I didn't want to be a jackass if I would have known that, you know, if I was undercutting people, but nobody was really getting into detailing that much around here. So for the first year, it was pretty rough. Went through a bad relationship, ended up living in my shop for about a year, washing myself in a big blue tub. Was not fun. I didn't even have money for like a hose attachment. I just used my thumb. You know, it gets pretty cold here in the winter, so washing the cars kind of like outside was a challenge. There were certain times where I had to do waterless washes. But after about a year of pushing through it, yeah, there was a lot of emotion in it just because times were tough. But I just knew that it was either I get rid of my shop and I find a place to live, or I just power through it. And I know it's not always going to be like that. So after a year, I got into another shop. And then I just started, and then I got into ceramic coatings. Ceramic coatings did kind of change it for me. And I also
around what year was that, would you say?
Oh, it was probably 2015, I'd say. Maybe 2014, yeah, it was late 2015. So I got into ceramic coatings. That definitely helped. And, you know, I continuously did kind of, once I started to grow, so like, you know, where I couldn't keep up with, you know, getting people in, I was scheduled out, you know, like a month or so. I was like, yeah, it's probably time to raise my prices. So I started raising my prices, and yeah, that's kind of what helped me get out of the shop. Then after, sorry, this is kind of like a long story long.
No, you're fine. This is what we have the time for. But back up 1 second though, as far as when you started offering ceramic coatings, because of the way that your market was, were you getting a lot of resistance in the beginning? Did you have to explain the benefit and all that?
There's so much that I've learned over the 7 years of doing ceramic coatings. Because when you first get into ceramic coatings, you think that they're like bulletproof. You think that, I mean, because you hear that you can light it on fire, you can run a shopping cart into it, you can, you know, it's pretty much, you know, maybe bird droppings will hover above it and like there's no water spotting. But then you find out that those are not all true. So my biggest thing is to kind of like, I mean, I guess I'll get back to like finishing the other part, but God, there's so much that I could talk about right now. But the one thing is, like, now when I do ceramic coatings, or if somebody like inquires about a ceramic coating, you know, I'll have them come in for a consultation. Almost every single appointment is based off of a consultation, because first of all, I want to know what the customer expects. And I want to find out what's best for them and their vehicle. I don't want anybody pissing away money. So like if ceramic coating is not for you and you're not going to maintain it, I will almost like refuse to put it on their car. I don't, I don't know how to, I'm wondering if I should use the word. I don't want to, I guess, rape my customer. So no, I don't want them. I don't want to just say like, here, give me your keys. I'm going to put a ceramic coating on it. I'm not going to tell you how to maintain it. And then you're going to just kind of like figure it out, because then you kind of feel like, you know, you just got something taken away from you, because that you're just not going to be able to, I mean, maybe it's not the right word, but that's
No,
just,
but we've heard those horror stories where somebody's basically oversold them on hype and they just drive off, pump gas, and that's it. And then they wonder why it's failing. And
right.
now they're
And
jaded.
then it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that I'm education with my customers, and, you know, anybody that wants to talk about detailing, that's what that's very important to me. So I make sure I go over, you know, how you maintain your ceramic coating. When people come into the shop, you know, I go over a series of questions with them. I ask them how long they've had the vehicle, when's the last time it's been detailed, by who, how they maintain it, and how they plan on maintaining it. And then, you know, I'll ask them if there's any repainted areas. So that kind of like helps me gauge, you know, first of all, what I'm expecting when I walk up to the vehicle. And then also, you know, is this ceramic coating a good fit for them? You know, are they planning on changing their washing methods? If I see a Mr. Car Wash or some sort of, you know, little thing in their front
Windshield right in that corner.
windshield, I'm just
Yeah.
like, no. So I have two different detailing prices also. You know, there's a heavy and a light. So anybody that has that sort of, you know, thing in their windshield, I always suggest a light detail, because I don't want them to sit there and pay, you know, all this money to get, you know, a 100% correction. It's just going to get hacked up. So yeah, that's just kind of like, that's how I do it. There's two different kinds of people. There's people that are going to be like this far away from the paint checking it out. And then there's people that are, you know, they're like, wow, this is all
Yeah.
nice and shiny and glossy.
You can wash it
I
and
want it.
and they're stoked.
Yeah, you know, just a good wash or you know, a nice polish, and they're super stoked about it. So yeah. So I ended up starting to work with Amola again. The owner and I, we were both like, we were really good friends. When I first started my business, he kind of quit talking to me for about a year because I think he thought I was going to try and steal his customers, which wasn't the case at all. I had utmost respect for him. Then after we went to a car show, he started to talk to me again. And I was like, wow, you know, like, it's good to have my friend back. Well, we were both in like kind of crappy relationships when I was working for him. I never looked at him like that. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, he was single, and I was trying to hook him up with my friends, or well, my friend, and, you know, she wasn't having it. He wasn't really about it. And then, I don't know, the friendship just kind of grew. It's kind of hard being a woman in this industry also. And there's certain people that will be very insecure with, you know, where you're going and what your plan is. You know, I would always get asked, whose car is that? How do you know him? You know, who's texting you? And I'm like, look, I'm just trying to run a business here. I don't have time for that extra sort of, you know, BS. So, you know, if you don't support me and want to help, you know, want me to succeed as much as I do, then like, this just isn't going to work out. So he was not like that. He was fully supportive. He was very independent. I'm very independent. So it just like, I don't know, it grew. So we ended up getting together. We've been together for about 6 years now. And yeah, it's been great. So I subcontracted out of his shop for a while again. And then, I mean, I'm sure he saw how hard I work, and then we could just kind of like merge together. So it's been really great. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And now I have an employee, which is amazing. I had one before, but he always wanted to start his own business, and I'm not going to hold anybody back from that. No. So I had him work with me until he kind of, you know, was up to snuff, and I could teach him as much as I could. And then he ended up starting his own shop, and I'm super, super happy for him. He's a awesome dude. And
now your new employee is a female, correct?
New employee is a female. Yep. She is pretty hardcore, and she's amazing, and she takes work very seriously. So I feel very blessed. Now,
the shop or atmosphere that you are constantly posting out of, when you post a lot of the Porsches that you work on, that's your shop? That's where your workspace is?
So yeah, I kind of consider it like how Starbucks is in Target. You know, so like people, and it's also nice. It's also nice to be in his shop because I don't have any sort of interruptions. When I had my own shop, you know how people like to stop by and they just want to kind of chat.
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
why it's kind of nice, because it's like, I mean, you got to have an appointment. You kind of got to get through, up front to, get to where I'm at. So I can, I can just focus on working and being on my phone calls for IGL and, doing demos and stuff like that. So yeah, it
Nice.
actually, in the shop, it used to be a tunnel butcher shop car wash. So I was like, okay, you can't be working on high-end cars and you're going to hack them up. So
Yeah.
we ended up gutting it and turning it into that detail bay.
That's very cool. It does look nice when, if
Thank
you
you.
guys, yeah, if you guys have ever haven't followed her on IG or Facebook, check out those photos, because the background, the way the ambient lighting and everything is just really, really cool how that's set up.
Thank you.
With your what am I missing here? Oh, so tell me, IGL, how did
Yeah.
that come about? How did that position come about?
Oh, I love this story. Okay, so I had used multiple different brands in the past. Not saying anything, wrong. I just wanted to, I put a lot into what I do, and I love promoting. So when I started, and I'm not gonna lie, like I got introduced to IGL because when I was subcontracting out of Amola, the other detailer was using it. So he was just using, the 1 year and the 2 year coating, and he was stacking them on top of each other, or he was using them just individually. When he quit working there, and when I first saw him apply it, I was like, there's no way that stuff can be good, because it was really easy to apply. I wasn't having to wear a mask like around it. And I was just like, there's no way that stuff can be good. So I kind of questioned it. After he left, I ended up doing, tests on my own vehicle. And, after seeing how it performed after a year and a half, and then Joel, he had always like kind of reached out, and he's just like too nice, like not too nice, but I just wasn't used to it. And
Yeah.
so once I started using the product, I remember I like took a picture of 2 bottles, and he instantly like called me after that, and he was like, oh, what did you think, and how you doing, and blah, blah, blah. And so after that, then I started ordering, more products. I tried their compound and polish. I didn't like it at first, but it's just because I didn't know how to use it. Their water spot remover for glass, not delete, but glass plus, that like really impressed me as well. And I just continued to kind of try more and more products. And then after just seeing how much it helped me, I reached out to Joel and I said, hey, and he's like, well, what are your goals? And I said, well, I shining as a car up is really amazing. I'm never going to stop doing that. But, I really want to help people save time and money, because I've sat here and struggled, wasting time and wasting money. And this stuff has helped me so significantly. And he's like, all right, well, let me talk to Jeff and I'll give you a call back. And so then the next day he called me and told me that, he's like, how would you like to be a sales rep and trainer? And I mean, I kind of like, I was so stoked. I can't even express it enough. And after that, things just started happening. Like he, had already gotten my cards ready for me. He had got me an email. There were other people that I've tried working with where it didn't really, it was kind of a struggle with certain things. And yeah, it just like, it worked out really well. I felt like I was a part of the family.
Yeah, Joel definitely has a knack for being able to make you feel like family right out the gate.
Yeah.
Big warm hugs, and
Oh yeah.
makes you feel like you have a place.
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. So moving forward, that puts you in also being able to go to more events and stuff like that, being part of the IGL family. And then it opened up you into, a larger network of detailers other than what you were already familiar with too, as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then you do, with the trainings, that's basically something now where you're pretty much being able to show people how to properly prep and apply these products so they're more successful. And like you said, to take a lot of the stops out that may set them back and let them be more successful, because they won't have to deal with those things with proper training.
Right, 100%. Like the opportunity that I am given to be able to call detailers, because I mean, I don't know about you, but talking to another detailer sometime is kind of therapeutic because, you know, other detailers understand what you're going through.
Yes.
And learning is amazing. You know, I'll sit there and I'll talk to my boyfriend sometimes or a friend, and they're like, yeah, cool. All right.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you know what? I just feel like I'm wasted my time, but you know, because we're excited about, you know, transformation, using good products, anything that kind of saves time and money. Like I'm all about that. But also delivering amazing results and being able to talk to people every single day and kind of like, you know, be on the same page and understand each other and try and help each other out. I mean, that just like fuels me. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Very cool. And then that process at this point, I mean, you've been able to put your name on a product as well. With the, you have the, what is it? Jen's KO mix.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So explain, how did that happen? How did you even come up with that, and where did all that start?
So I was cleaning some door jambs out of a car. IGL has an amazing water spot remover that's pretty potent. It's called Delete.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I was using that, and then I wanted to neutralize it afterwards. So what I did is I ended up just getting, you know, a spray bottle with water, and I put a little bit of IGL wash in it, which is their car wash shampoo. Now they have Blizzard out, which is amazing. But anyway, I did IGL water and wash, and then or IGL wash and water. And then after that, I went over it with enhancer to kind of give it a slick feel and then, you know, give it hydrophobic properties. So after I did all three of those steps, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't, you know, I want to save time. Time is money. So I ended up just like kind of mixing it all together. After using it, I mean, it worked great, but after I kept using it and using it and using it, I mean, it kind of was pretty awesome when I would spray it on, let's say, a water spot, and it would just kind of, it lights up really quick. We didn't have filtered water here at the shop for the longest time. So, you know, we're working on these higher end vehicles, washing them. You know, the last thing we want to do is pull it out in the parking lot. There's going to be, you know, a water spot or like a water drip, and you wipe it and you still have the outline of it. Well, you take the Gen KO mix and spray it on there, you wipe it, and it's instantly gone. So pretty much all the techs around here had it. The shop kids had it. I had bottles in the detail bay. And so just after using it for, I mean, I remember like the guy that used to work for me, he's like, oh, this is so crazy. You know, I remember using this stuff back in the day, and now all of a sudden it's like a thing. But it just helped me so significantly that after about a year, and then testing it too, because I want to make sure if I'm going to release this formula or this, you know, mixture, I think the mixture came from my bartending experience too.
As I said, the dilution of that, I'm sure you had to play with in order to really dial it in.
I did it. The first try was how it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, after mixing all those together, I wanted to make sure that I could spray it on a car, you know, in high temperatures on a black car, getting the water spots off, wiping it. So it'd be good for the mobile detailers, boats, motorcycles, plastic. We most recently just found out today that we tried it on my suede Alcantara seat. There was a spot with like an outline, came right out. I'm still like testing that a little bit. I'd rather like spill stuff on my own seat and try it first. But,
yeah, especially Alcantara.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I didn't spray it on there. I put it on a towel first and then, you know, lightly dabbed it.
Well, it's good you explained that. You never know. You might get one of these viewers. Oh, I got it.
Yeah. I don't want to be. So, you know, after testing it out, I didn't want to like sound like a jive turkey and just like give the recipe to somebody and then it's going to, you know, ruin their reputation, ruin a vehicle, ruin my reputation. Because I don't want to put my name on something if it's not going to work, you know? So, yeah, after testing it out for a year and a half, I released the, you know, mixture to IGL installers because they have access to, you know, Delete. And, you know, after about 40 or 50 screenshots of people telling me that it was amazing or, you know, especially like on matte and vinyl wraps, you know, some people were like, I can't get these water spots off the matte and vinyl wrap. They were thinking about using like an all-purpose cleaner and a magic eraser. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So I had them try that. And then they let me know like, oh my God, it worked. So after about all those text messages, taking screenshots, kept sending it to Joel. And I was like, kept kind of like poking him, like this stuff is amazing. We need to come out with it. And I just remember specifically there was a day where I was in the shop. It had been a long week. I mean, they're always kind of long weeks, but sat there and I just was like looking at the cars and I'm like, and I don't pray a lot, but I do sometimes. And I just said, God, just make it a good day. Like, please. And then 30 minutes later, Joel called me and he's like, guess what, girl, like, we're going to make it happen. And then it was just like instant tears. And I just couldn't believe it after, 20, 21 years of, folding towels and shoveling car wash pits and cleaning like interiors, like thousands of them, and just all the things, all the things that you do as a detailer.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I'm going to have a product that's around the world. That's kind of crazy. So it's nice because the more and more it catches on, I get messages every single day, like all day, people telling me how awesome it is. And I just love helping people. So it's great.
Now, with a lot of professionals using this product, is this something that you could also consider a consumer level to where consumers can
it totally is. So
Yeah.
It's actually consumer level now. So at first when it came out, it was, it was individual bottles and you mixed it yourself. Now it's consumer. So one of the biggest selling points now is, most people, they have hard water or well water at home, when they're washing their vehicles. So when you get done, you're kind of always like chasing those water spots around. So that goes for people that are washing their cars at home, and then also mobile detailers that might not have, a DI water system. So they're always chasing that stuff around. This works perfect for that. So when they're done, they can just kind of like go around the vehicle, or after it's safe on ceramic coatings too. So I just had a buddy message me today and he's like, oh my God, wow, just got done, washing my car, went around it with the Gen KO. And he's like, this stuff is amazing. Yeah, so it works really, really good in that aspect. Every person that comes here and gets a detail or a ceramic coating, I always either give them a sample or they end up just buying like the bigger bottle.
That's good. That helps in regards to what you just mentioned with their spotting, because that's something that we have issues with regardless. I think everybody's encounters that who installs or offers ceramic coatings for their customers.
Ooh.
It's almost something they have to have in a way.
Yeah, it's crazy because it was about 2 weeks ago. I did a ceramic coating on a guy's car about 4 years ago. He ended up coming in because he parked at a restaurant and, obviously there was a sprinkler system. It hit him and his buddy's car. Well, his ceramic coating, I tried going over it with the Gen KO first because I like to go least aggressive approach at first on vehicles. And then I ended up going over it with Delete, and it made it look better, but it didn't take it away completely. So he's like, well, what can we do, temporarily until I can get it in, so you can, I'm like, we might have to possibly remove the coating and recoat, or do me a favor, go home, go over the whole vehicle with the Gen KO, and then just kind of see if that actually heals itself, because I've done it before on somebody else's car and it did. He ended up coming back 4 days later and he shook my hand and he's like, I just wanted to show you for yourself, like the spots like healed itself. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
really
I'm
cool.
Done talking about Gen KO.
Well, we had to give you the plug on
excited.
That. But it's a cool product. Have you tried putting it through a foam cannon?
No, I don't think it would foam. But no, I haven't tried it. So
I always have this weird interest in trying almost everything through a foam cannon except wheel acid. Or I should say my guys do. Just to push the envelope. Like, let's just see what this stuff does here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You never know. You might get somebody who hears this and they're like, oh my God, it was the most amazing thing. But I hope there's no opposite of that either.
Yeah. Right.
So how's a normal day then? I mean, you had talked about how you bring in your jobs with the ceramic coatings. How's a normal day usually weigh out for you inside of your shop? And now that you have everything going on with, IGL and you have a product out there, how do you balance all that?
So sorry, I just wanted to plug this in real quick. I know it's a little dark. My battery's getting a little low, so I just want to make sure that I plug this in real quick for a second. My day to day, is that what you're asking?
Correct.
Okay, so day to day, I usually try, since it's summer here, I try to bike in to work every single day because it kind of helps me listen to, I like listening to motivational stuff in the morning. So I will listen to something on my bike ride to work. It's about 11 miles. And then I get into work. Allie's usually here. You know, I have phone calls that I need to attend to in the morning time. I mean, it's all throughout the day, but the morning time, I usually, you know, there's people that inquire about IGL. So I'll chat with them. I'm also checking up front to see if I have any consultations. So I usually have a couple consultations throughout the day. You know, there's emails, so I try and, I'm like a major multitasker. So if I can, you know, I'm usually on the phone and I'm also maybe like cleaning some wheels or something, door jams, I don't know. But, you know, so I'm pretty much IGL, you know, well, it's actually from when I wake up to when I go to bed. But 5 o'clock is usually when I'm able to actually like polish on some paint. So now that I have Allie, now that I have Allie, I mean, it's a little less of a, you know, amount of work that I have to do. But, you know, I'm pretty much sometimes it's from, you know, 5, 6 in the morning of, you know, getting up and then going to work to, I mean, you know, I don't like to work till 2 in the morning anymore, but I mean, sometimes it happens if there's deadlines.
Yeah.
So now that Allie's here though, that's the girl that I have working with me. I'm actually able to leave sometimes around like 7 o'clock. So I'm kind of obsessed with work, so it doesn't really bother me. And I know that summer times it's kind of like I don't have a life, which is okay. You know, I like I said, I'm obsessed with work. It's what I like to do.
When I ask, because you know there's a lot of people in the majority of the detail community where it's a one person operation, or they have one person and a helper. So it's always nice to hear from somebody else who's in that position to understand, with your workload and the responsibilities you carry on the industry front, how you balance all that, so people could see that even with what you balance, you're still getting things done and being successful.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, everybody has their tough days. You know, when the deadlines kind of, you gotta, but I don't know, at the end of the week on a Saturday when I can sleep in, I mean, that's nice, you know.
Yeah, I look forward to the weekends myself. And my tough days are when I usually have PPF jobs that just I'm not getting along with.
Oh, you're doing PPF?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been doing that for?
2 years now.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, but I brought it on when I expanded my shop, and I sent one of my lead techs out to get trained up in Connecticut, and he did a great job. But after I started realizing the loss in regards to the learning curve, because of how much material you literally burn through, I was like, you know, I'm gonna just burn through this myself and take fault and own it, and that way, because I know I'm buying it, so if I'm losing money on it, at least I feel a little better.
Yeah, there was a time when I wanted to get into PPF, but first of all, we got a guy that's a half mile up the road. We have a really good relationship with him. Nice. So I don't want to step on toes. And then also, I didn't really want to burn through $10,000 in clear bra.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's startup and going, and that's where you start to burn through. But no, yeah, that's about it there. It's it's interesting. Now, with you being a female and being a female detailer, have you ever caught any kind of resistance from consumers, customers that come in and they're shocked that a woman does all the work, or how does that work out? And I always ask because I've had a couple, you know, it's a male dominant industry for the most part. So it's always interesting. Like I see it as one way. I don't see it as a gender thing. And you know that. I see it as we're all detailers. However, looking at like my area where I'm at in Melbourne, Florida, we have a huge engineer-based community with a lot of Northrop Grumman and the Space Center and all this stuff. So people can be very judgmental. So And that even with me, they look at me as being young and tattooed and this and that and have their opinion out the gate. So from a female perspective, how does that approach? Do you get any kind of resistance or anything weird?
Oh, when I first started, yeah, for sure. But now since I've, yeah, there's a lot of loud BMWs in here today. When I first started, yeah, I mean, there were people that are like, oh, if you do good on this one, you know, I'll let you do the other one. And then they question the pricing, you know, when it was like really low. And I get it. Like when you do say really low pricing, it does get a little sketchy sometimes. But yeah, there was one guy, he like saw that I had my nails done and he's like, yeah, I just don't want you working in my car. I'm like, cool, sweet. Like there's somebody else that wants me to work on their car.
Wow.
There are resistance, or there's people that, you know, they try and be, you know, they'll be try and like pass a move. It's really loud.
You're fine.
Like they're doing competitions in here. But yeah, they would try and, you know, make a move, and it's like, okay, are you coming in here because you actually like want me to work on your car, or are you trying to like,
you know, you're saying they hit on you?
Yeah. Or do you want to, are you trying to be inappropriate? So like over the years though, I've always like tried to, you know, I take a lot of pride in sorry. Is that okay? Wait, no, that's not okay. Okay, I'm just hoping that they're gonna stop that. All right. Sorry. Am I okay?
You're fine. Hold on.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say, yeah, I did get a little resistance at first, but I've kind of like built the reputation of people respecting me. Like now people are like, oh, you know, you're the girl, you know, and I don't really have any sort of issues like that anymore.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, and I'm sure that, you know, even listeners or even other females, I mean, I'm sure them getting into business now that the industry is growing with more women in detailing, they'll probably see that, and that's something that they could probably even reach out to you to see how you stood your ground.
Well, one thing is, and I didn't know if you were talking about like my customers or like other detailers too. One thing is, yeah, the one thing I can tell, you know, other females in the industry is, you know, for one, if somebody's going to say something negative to you, like don't engage. You know, I remember in the beginning when people would be like, well, why would I go to you and not somewhere else? And I'm just like, you know, there was a couple times where I would get defensive. This is like in my rookie years of being a business owner. But now I'm just like, I just don't even have time for it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I know what I know what I can do, and you know what I stand for. And so, you know, if people are going to be like that, then that's fine. Just watch me, you know, just watch me grow, because I'm not going to go away.
I like it. And speaking of now with the whole women in detailing thing, I want to mention what you had told me earlier. You know, we had touched on, you know, there being a place for women in detailing with maybe a social media platform or something of that sort. So giving credit to Kelly Jones, she started the ladies in detailing. Yes. So yes, those that are listening and any women that maybe want to engage and be part of that, that's huge. That way you guys can all communicate and then have something there. Because looking at where the manufacturers are seeing the industry going, I'm sure there's quite a few manufacturers that are going to have interest in not only, you know, they've already may be fulfilled with a male ambassador, but most likely want to balance that out with a female ambassador.
Right.
So for that reason, that would be a go-to spot for those manufacturers to kind of look up the resume and maybe get some new upcoming talent or existing talent, whatever the case may be. But put yourself out there. I would say join. That way you can grow that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it is about empowering other females. It is kind of sad, and I'll be honest, it's sad how, you know, if we were to say a question, because it is a male dominated industry, there are people that think that we don't have a place here. which is very sad and closed-minded. But you know, it for people to do that, I gotta say, all the haters, you know, they just might not be happy enough in their own life that they have to go and attack other people. If there's women that are gonna sit there and, you know, ask a question online, we shouldn't get attacked for it. We shouldn't be told, you know, maybe this isn't the industry for you. You know, we all start somewhere. We're all making mistakes. We just want somebody to like maybe help us with their opinion. And, you know, if I ever see anybody, I've seen people get attacked. And whenever I see somebody get attacked, I literally like, I mean, there's been a time where I drove straight to Chicago and just like helped somebody out because hundreds of people were attacking them on social media, but nobody took the time to just go out there and help them. Like, it's really not that hard to just be a good person. That's my rant.
No, I agree. I agree.
So,
yeah. Well, if that person just happens to be walking through SEMA and someone catches the back of their leg and they trip, oops. No. Well, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because that helps a lot with, especially with this month and the purpose of a lot of this as well. So with where we're at though on time, I have to ask, as far as words of advice from you for any and all, male, female, just in the industry, what would you have that you could say directly from your heart? What would be some words of advice that you could put out there for everybody?
I'm all about surrounding yourself with people that want you to succeed as much as you do. Being around people that don't have, you know, the same mindset as you is going to kind of harbor from what you're trying to accomplish. And so I just like to, you know, be around people that are happy for me. You know, there's people out there that want to bring your spirits up, and being around people that might not, you know, that might be negative or, you know, stuff like that, that's just like, it's toxic, and just stay away from that because yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah,
it's stressful.
That's great advice. Your net worth is worth your net worth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. And how would people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you directly?
Ooh, if people want to get a hold of me directly, I would probably say, and I mean, calling me works really well when it comes, but I mean, it does.
How would they find you on social media?
Yeah, follow me on social media, I guess, and contact me there. If I don't get to you right away, I mean, it's probably because I'm on the phone, you know, helping somebody out or getting an account set up. But yeah, my social media is Carsmotology on Instagram, Carsmotology on TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok too much. I'm trying to figure that out. I do have a YouTube channel under Jennifer Turcotte. I'm on Facebook, Jennifer Turcotte, and then there's also Carsmotology on there. But I kind of like, when I first started my business, I was on Carsmotology on my Facebook a lot, but I'm not really on there so much. It's more so Instagram, I gotta say it.
No, I see the transition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. And
yeah, you too.
we'll have I'll let you know when this is uploaded. They'll let me know because Julio gets it all put together and edited, and then it goes up on the different platforms and YouTube as well, so that way you can share it. But I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of everything. This is Reflection Artist Live. We are number 38, so we're almost hitting 40. Hopefully we'll be in the triple digits, and we'll have you on again as another time at a later date, and that way we could recap on from now till then and all the good stuff that's happened, as long as we stay clear of what's going on with the world, right?
Yeah, and, right. Are you gonna be at URO-TEC, or you're gonna be at SEMA, of course?
I'd definitely be at SEMA. I'm not sure about URO-TEC yet. I got some things up in the air, but and honestly, with everything that's going on right now, who knows about URO-TEC, because it's such a small show as it is.
Right.
So, but SEMA looks pretty good, pretty promising. So definitely be looking forward to that.
Well, I'll see you soon, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. And you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you, everybody at home or on the job listening, or at a later date, again, number 38 with Jennifer Turcotte. And we look forward to doing this again in the future, and have a great day.
For sure.
See you later.